Hey guys, welcome back to 17 square meters garden. It's been a while since I recorded on my balcony, so today I want to take you for a little tour to show you how the things are looking in January. And obviously there is not much going on at this time of year, but that's why today I want to especially highlight my favorite winter hardy evergreen plants that I've been growing on my balcony for many years, and hopefully it will give you some ideas on what you can plant on your balcony to have something beautiful to look at even during winter months. And although I live in fairly mild climate, I garden in zone 8B, a lot of these plants that I'm going to show you today are hardy down to zone 4 and even down to zone 3. So even if you live in colder climate, you can still enjoy them on your balcony. So let's begin. Okay, starting in this corner, there are some of my all-time favorite plants in here. So obviously I have this conifer, Taxus baccata. It's a large plant, but there are all kinds of conifers. There are really small conifers that even if you have a small balcony, you could buy some conifer that would definitely you could enjoy it for many years. They do not grow very fast. So I chose Taxus baccata because it's suitable for both full sun and shade, and this corner doesn't receive any sunlight at all, even in summertime. So I'm hoping that this Taxus baccata will be perfect in here. But as I said, there are so many conifers. They're all gorgeous, all beautiful, all very winter hardy. So I think that even if you have a small balcony, you could have a space for a very tiny, very small conifer to enjoy. But I'm gonna focus on the smaller plants here that are under my conifer, which first is a heuchera. This one is called Heuchera silver gumdrop. I love heucheras. Like, I think I could never have enough heucheras because they come in all kinds of colors. They are super resistant. They provide such a beautiful winter interest. They are hardy down to zone 4, so zone 4 through 9. In late spring, early summer, they produce long bloom stalks with tiny bell-shaped flowers that attract smaller pollinators. I really like how the underside of the leaf is a different color. It looks kind of velvety. So definitely love heucheras. There are all kinds of colors. I think anyone can find something, anyone can find a color that they like. So definitely recommend buying heucheras for your balcony garden. They grow really well in pots, easy to propagate through division, and in general they are quite low maintenance. Next to my heuchera is Carex Evergold, beautiful variegated plant. It's not a grass, but it has a grass-like texture, and I really like all kinds of ornamental grasses. I think they are underestimated a little because, you know, we tend to focus on flowering plants, on plants that are more showy, let's say during summer season. And I think that ornamental grasses, they are just such a unique plants because maybe, you know, they are not the most beautiful of them all, but in winter they provide such a nice accent. And this plant looks really like light and adds movement, and they move in the air, in the wind, and I think that's such a really cute accent. I have several ornamental grasses on my balcony. I'm going to show you other ones in a minute. But yeah, definitely recommend heucheras, ornamental grasses. I also have a smaller plant in here. It's Cyclamen hederifolium, ivy-leaved cyclamen, and this one is perennial and it's winter hardy. So it's not like your typical cyclamens that you buy at the garden center in the fall that do not survive the frost. This one blooms in fall. This particular one has pink flowers, so it's a very frost-resistant cyclamen, perennial cyclamen that you can grow on your balcony for many years. Okay, moving on, another plant that I want to show you is this Euonymus fortunii harlequin. It's also yet another variegated plant. I really love outdoor variegated plants. Super low maintenance. This plant is like really beginner friendly. It doesn't require any attention at all. And you can do pretty much whatever you want with this plant. You can, like you can see, I put some bamboo sticks to make it go up a little, to climb a little, but you could train it into all kinds of shapes. You can make topiaries, you can make spirals, whatever you fancy. So it's a really fun plant. You can do a lot of things with it. Very low maintenance, very winter hardy. And what I really like about it is in winter it gets those pink discoloration on the leaves, which looks really cute. If you're searching for some winter flowering plants, then hellebores are definitely a must-have. I have two different hellebores, and the different species bloom at different times. So if you decide to buy several of them, you can have a beautiful flower show all the way from December till spring. These white ones, they tend to bloom earlier, especially this year. This white hellebore bloomed for me already in November, which is very strange. Usually they bloom in December. But yeah, there are still some flowers opening. So yeah, definitely a beautiful plant to add to your balcony garden. They are quite winter hardy. Most hellebores are hardy down to zone 6. I have another one, pink one, that I'm gonna show you in a moment. And if you are searching for some tips on how to grow hellebores in pots, I do have a video dedicated to that. I will link it at the end of this video. And I would also like to highlight my beautiful pansies that I grew from seeds. They have ruffled petals. These are a mix called Pansies Rococo, and it's been a while that I've been searching for ruffled petal pansies because I could never find them at the garden centers, and I am so happy. It was so worth to grow them from seeds because they are just now starting to bloom, and there are so many beautiful ones. I have a total of 30 plants and they are starting to bloom, so I'm gonna show you in other pots. I also have a few that are flowering, but yeah, generally I'm super happy with them. And pansies are also fairly frost resistant. They will look sad, and they will look wilted when there is a hard frost, but usually when the temperatures go up, they are just fine. They put their heads back up and they look beautiful. Okay, moving on, I have 2 other ornamental grasses in here. Here at the back I have carex, yet another carex. Usually carex grasses are hardy down to zone 5 or 6 depending on the species, as I mentioned. I'm not entirely sure which variety is this one, which species, because it didn't come with a plant tag, but I think it is Carex flagellifera, but as I said, I'm not entirely sure. And this one is quite small because I had one large plant that I divided in the fall, and they are super easy to divide. You basically take the plant out of its pot, you cut right through the roots, pot the 2 plants separately, and you have 2 new plants, really easy to take care of. And another ornamental grass that I have is up here, Festuca glauca, blue fescue grass. In winter months it's more of a dark green, and in summer when there's more light it's silvery blue, hardy down to zone 4, I believe. Really easy maintenance. It is tagged as a full sun plant, although I garden in part shade, and I dare say that this plant grows in full shade on my balcony, because even if there's a sun coming in summer months, this plant is on the floor, so it doesn't really get any sunlight at all. So it's basically in full shade and it grows quite healthy, and yeah, I really enjoy this one. Okay, a few more evergreen winter hardy plants in here, starting with this variegated ivy, very beautiful ivy, really like this one. I'm not sure what species, what cultivar it is, because it came without a plant tag, and I planted it and trained it on top of this obelisk so that it has this beautiful cone shape. And I really like ivies because you can really do whatever you want with them. You can train them into topiaries, having something under, obviously some obelisk or some form. They can take they will take the form that you provide them, and I think that you can really have fun with it. Very winter hardy down to zone 3, and they are so resistant you literally can't kill ivy plant even if you try. They are like weeds, they pop up everywhere, so best to plant them on their own in their separate container, because otherwise they are gonna take over the entire space and they are gonna compete with your other plants for water, for nutrients. So definitely ivies are great, but on their own in their separate container. On the ground I have yet another grass-like plant, Ophiophogone nigersens black dragon, hardy down to zone 6. I really like this plant because I think there are not so many black and dark plants like this, and I really like how it contrasts with these beautiful pink flowers on this hellebore. This one is hellebore ice and roses. It's just now starting to bloom. As I mentioned, the white one blooms a little bit earlier, sometime in December, and this pink one, the oriental hellebore, blooms more towards spring. This one is hardy down to zone 6 and it's full of buds, so it's gonna be really pretty in here really soon. Yet another heuchera. This one I think is called heuchera encore, although it didn't come with a plant tag. Each leaf has a different shade and they look like they are frosted, and the underside of the leaf looks like velvety pink. Okay, and the last plant that I want to highlight in this part of the balcony is Golteria procumbens. Beautiful plant with red berries, super winter hardy. It's hardy down to zone 3. It has these cute red berries that stay on the plant until late spring, early summer, and then in summer it produces flowers, little tiny flowers, and then in fall it's gonna produce berries again. And what is nice with Gaultheria procumbens is that this one is self-pollinating, so you don't need another plant in order for this plant to produce berries. But there are different types of Gaultheria that have pink berries and white berries, and some of them need both male and female plant in order to produce berries. And it's usually quite hard to find actually male Gaultheria for your female plant that is gonna produce berries. So usually people treat them as seasonal plants, and I also treat my Gaultheria procumbens as seasonal plants, even though I could potentially keep them because I said Gaultheria procumbens is self-pollinating, but I tend to keep them as seasonal plants only in winter for their beautiful red berries. Okay guys, so I hope that you enjoyed this tour of my balcony garden in January and seeing some of my favorite winter hardy plants. Now the last thing that I will do and that I want to share with you in this video is that I actually launched a fun event on Instagram. It's called My Mini Bouquet. It's a hashtag My Mini Bouquet, and the idea is that we all go out to our gardens, whether that be a small balcony garden or small urban garden or any garden at all. I mean, everyone is welcome to participate. The goal is to create some tiny mini bouquet with seasonal plants from your garden and to share that on Instagram, to tag me and to add hashtag My Mini Bouquet. And I actually launched it last Sunday, and so many of my Instagram followers participated, and it was so cute to see everyone's winter bouquet. And those bouquets were so beautiful, like no one would imagine that they were that someone would be able to make such a beautiful bouquet with plants from a winter garden. So it is really a pleasure to share that cute moments with you on Instagram. So if you do have an account on Instagram, that would be lovely if you could join us on Sunday with your mini bouquet. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna gather some flowers from my garden. I'm gonna create a mini bouquet for this Sunday's event.